you bring yourself down onto the mat, and you're very welcome to use a pillow from the couch, or if you have a little throw blanket close by, you're welcome to use something underneath the head just for a little bit of head and neck support. And we can start in constructive rest position. So that is with the soles of the feet on the floor. And then we'll take the feet a little wider than the hips, so almost mat width apart, and then just let the knees knock in against each other. So the knees just sort of rest against each other, a bit like a little pyramid. And then you can take the hands onto the belly, relax your shoulders, and then just close down the eyes here. And we'll take a few minutes just to tune into the breathing, to let the pelvis and the spine release down towards the ground. And just to slow everything down a little bit. So start to breathe in through the nose, and then back out through the nose. Your exhalations getting slightly longer than your inhalations. Breathing in and breathing out. And just tuning into that slow, steady rhythm of your breath. Feel the shoulders relaxing down. And just check in with how it feels in your lower back, in your mid back, in your upper back. Feeling the spine releasing down into the ground, and feeling the pelvis just starting to level off a little more. We're using this time here to slow down the breathing. To tune into the breathing rhythm. And to just set that tone for this morning's practice. So just setting that lovely slow rhythm with your breathing. And then we're just going to separate the knees. So the knees come apart, feet are nearly mat width apart, and the knees are as well. Taking the hands just slightly away from the sides of your body. Maybe turning the palms down, but relaxing your shoulders as you do that. And then just starting with a very slow and small sway side to side with your knees. So both knees to the right, back through center, both knees to the left, and then just going back and forth a couple of times. So it's a very small movement, just as we are warming up the body. Rolling across one side and then the other side. And then as and when this movement feels a little more familiar, maybe the knees come a little further down. It's just a release for the spine. It's a traction twist. So one of the safest ways we can come into a spinal twist. Eventually you might have one sit bone almost lifting up away from the floor a little. And then the other as the knees drop to the other side. And keep the movement slow and steady, just like the breathing. We just slowly start to get the blood flowing around the pelvis and the spine. So we'll do a couple more knee sways side to side, or window wiper knees. And then we're going to draw the knees back up towards the ceiling and just heel toe the feet back to hip width apart. Float the fingertips up to the ceiling and then turn the palms towards in the direction of your feet. So you see the backs of the hands. Shoulder blades are relaxing down onto the floor. Spine is nice and neutral. We're going to inhale here. As you exhale, just lower your lower back onto the mat. So we tuck the tailbone underneath a little bit. Hold the lower back on the floor and then start to reach the arms up overhead. So the lower back stays down, the arms reach away behind you. We're keeping lower, middle, and upper spine all touching the mat. And then as you exhale, float the fingertips back up to the ceiling first, and then back down to the sides of the body. And we'll do that a couple more times. Inhale, fingertips up to the ceiling. And then as you exhale, arms back alongside the ears. Keep going there. Inhale, arms up. And then back. And then up again. Spine still on the floor and alongside the body. Do that one more time. So floating the fingertips up to the ceiling and then stretching the arms back behind you. Hold on to the opposite elbow and then let your spine release. So you might find the lower back lifts up away from the floor a little bit. And then we're going to bring the soles of the feet together and just let the knees open out to the sides a little bit. So just getting that release for the inner thighs and the groins. And we start to open up the chest. So take nice deep breaths in, feeling the belly rise, the ribs expand, the chest lift. As you exhale, the chest, the ribs, and the belly all release down. Inhaling, chest, ribs, and belly expanding with the breath. Exhale, chest, ribs, and belly releasing with your exhale. And take another 3 breaths here. And this hip opener, getting a stretch into the front of the pelvis. Taking a last deep breath in. And then as you exhale, you can release your elbows. Take the hands underneath your thighs. And then just use the hands to help draw the knees back up to the ceiling. And then if you hug the knees into your chest, so that releases your lower back down, you can interlace the hands around the shins if that's accessible. If not, just one hand on each knee is fine too. And then try and relax your shoulders down. Feel the spine releasing down into the mat. So this is a pose to decompress the spine. And then we're just going to start a very small sway, side to side, really tiny in fact. The whole body is still in contact with the floor. We just sway the knees a little bit from side to side. Head, neck, and shoulders are all relaxed. No tension there. Nice deep breaths. And then perhaps that movement just gets a little bigger, but also a little slower. So the knees might go over to one side, and then that opposite hip or sit bone lifts up away from the floor. So it's a slow rock from side to side. Also gives our spine a little bit of a twist. Couple more there. And then we're going to bring the body back to center. Take one hand onto each knee. Relax your legs. So let the arms do the work. Let the knees open out to the sides. And then start to circle the legs around and then back into the center. Inhale, legs open out, circle around. Exhale, knees back together in the chest. So just starting that slow, steady movement there. So we just start to oil up the hip joints a little bit. We'll do a couple more in this direction. Keep the feet nice and relaxed. Slow, steady movement. The breath stays slow. And then whenever you're ready, we're going to change direction. So legs go wide. And they come back in towards the body and the knees meet in the middle. So just a few more hip circles, really just to get those hip joints gliding as we move so they don't catch. Couple more this way. And then the next time the legs go wide, we're going to hold them there. Take the hands to the insides of your legs, reach down, grab hold of the ankles, and then let the legs relax. So spine releasing down towards the floor. It's fine if the hands are a little bit higher up. If you don't want to reach all the way down for the ankles, that's fine. We're just gently stretching out the inner thighs and the hips, whilst keeping the back nice and still, nice and stable. So 3 deep breaths here, in through the nose. Slow and steady back out through the nose. Couple more, breathing in, breathing out. Last inhale. As you exhale, slide your hands up to the knees. Use the hands to draw the knees back in towards each other. And exhale there. And then we'll take the hands onto that right knee. So you can interlace the hands around that right shin if you like. Pop that left foot down onto the floor and then just start to slide that left leg out along the mat. At the same time, gently drawing the navel to the spine. Point the left toes, reach away through the big toe. And then as you exhale, slide that foot back along the mat, up into the chest, and we move the hands onto that left shin. Placing that right foot down, keeping the belly just gently drawing in as you extend your right leg out. Take a nice deep breath, point those right toes. As you exhale, keep drawing the navel down towards the spine and slide that right leg back in. Hands move to the right leg and we start to slide that left leg out. So you can move really slowly here. Just getting that very gentle engagement of our abdominals. So just switching on that deepest layer of abdominals to help keep our spine supported. So lower back staying on the floor as we swap from side to side. And let's make this next one the last one. Inhaling and exhaling, drawing the knee back in. And then again, just wrapping the arms around the shins and giving yourself a really gentle rock from side to side. And then you can release the hands, pop your left foot down onto the floor and take the fingertips or interlace the hands just behind your right thigh. And then we'll stretch out the hamstrings a little bit. So you start to lift your right foot up towards the ceiling. You can work with a bend in the knee, that's absolutely fine. Start to pull the right toes down towards your face and just adjust so you feel a good stretch into the hamstrings, so those three muscles running down the back of the thigh. But without it being painful, definitely don't want to work into pain. If the leg is really shaking, you might need to bend the knee a little more. And just check that you can relax your shoulders down. So shoulders tend to tense up whenever they get the chance. We're going to start to point the toes back up to the ceiling and then pull the toes back down towards the face. Alternating that a couple of times. You can probably feel as you flex the foot, you get a little more stretch in the lower leg, so into the calf muscle. I'm just going to do a couple more of those, pointing and then flexing. Last deep breath here, opening up the hamstrings, and then bend that right knee to release. We're going to pop that right ankle over the left thigh, flexing the foot, and then just take your right fingertips onto your right thigh and ease that thigh away from you. You can bring your left hand onto your left hip. Flex that right foot. And then once you've kind of guided that right knee away from your face and those hip muscles are active, just release both hands onto the belly. So we are using the hip muscles just to move that right knee away from our face so the legs are active. I'm just going to hold this for 2 more deep breaths. So just switching on. This helps to switch on the glutes, so those muscles that help to rotate the hips. And then slowly release. Stretch the right leg out along the mat. Stretch the left leg out along the mat. Let's roll out the ankles a few times. And then float your arms all the way up overhead. Give yourself a full body stretch. Nice deep breath. And then bending the knees. Bringing the soles of the feet back onto the mat first. Hug that left knee into your chest. And then take the hands just into the back of that left thigh. Point the toes. And then open the back of the knee, so you're pointing the toes up towards the ceiling. Again, working with a little bend in the knee or big bend in the knee. Just making sure there's no sharpness in that knee joint. And then we'll start to flex the foot. So we draw the toes down towards the face. And we feel that a little more into the calf muscle again. And then we'll point the toes up. You might feel it more into the hamstrings when you do that. And then again, flexing the foot, pulling the toes to the face. So just alternate between pointing and flexing a few more times. Just feeling that stretch, gradually opening up the left leg. And then the next time you flex the foot, finishing there, bending that left knee to release the hamstring stretch and popping that left ankle over your right thigh. So left foot is flexed. Right hand onto the right hip bone. Left hand just onto that left thigh. We guide that thigh away from us and then use the muscles in the hip to hold the leg away. Hands move on to the belly. And then we're just breathing here. So we're activating those hip rotator muscles. That will also help to stretch and open the hips. We've got 3 deep breaths here, just holding that external rotation in the hip. Breathing in, breathing out. Last inhale. And then as you exhale, release. Place that left foot down onto the floor. Let's slide that left leg out. Slide the right leg out. And then reach the arms up overhead. Interlace the fingers. Turn the palms away. Give yourself a full body stretch here. Nice deep breath in. And as you exhale, release. Bring the soles of the feet onto the floor and then just start a slow rocking motion side to side. Doesn't have to be very big, it's just that traction twist to get the blood flowing around the pelvis and the spine. And then you can pick a side to roll onto. As your knees drop down, let that momentum roll you onto the side of your body. Press into your hand and then bring yourself up off of the mat. And we'll come straight over onto the hands and the knees. So I'm not sure if you are on carpet or on a harder surface there, but if you wanted to bring a blanket in underneath the knees, you're welcome to, something just to soften it. If you're on carpet, it might be soft enough. And we'll just sit with the knees nice and wide, about mat width apart. Walk the hands forward and just come into your child's pose. So that might be with the forehead resting onto the arms, or that might be stretching the arms forward and letting the forehead come down onto the mat. So either way, we just want the forehead supported so that the neck can switch off. And then give yourself a few deep breaths here. Letting lower back and the hips release. Inhaling and exhaling. And then we'll just lift the head up, just away from the floor. Lift your right arm up and then slide your left arm underneath your right arm. Just reposition that mic. Left arm slides underneath. We're up on the right fingertips and just relaxing the left side of the head and the left shoulder down towards the mat. So just coming into a twisted child's pose for really gentle spinal release. Send the breath into the upper back, so keep that deep breathing going, even though we are closing off the front of the body. Let's take another inhale here. Exhale, slide that right hand back. Press to ease yourself up, and we'll change sides so we can slide that left hand all the way forward. Right arm just slides underneath that left arm. We guide the head down onto the mat. We relax that right arm, and then we lift up onto the fingertips of that left hand. So again, we're getting that stretch into the upper back. 3 deep breaths here. Inhale. Exhale. 2 more. Last deep breath. When you're ready to come out, sliding that left hand back so you've got the support as you press yourself up away from the mat. And we'll come onto hands and knees. So you can draw the knees back into hip width apart. We'll tuck the toes underneath so you get that little bit of a stretch in the soles of the feet. And we'll do a few cat-cow movements here. So starting with a flat back. As you inhale, start to lift the sit bones and lift the chest. We want to keep the belly drawing in. So it's not really a movement at the lower back. It's a lift in the chest. As you exhale, tuck the chin, tuck the tailbone round the spine. Inhaling, dipping the belly down, lifting the heart through and up. Exhaling to round, coming into that cat stretch, that arch. You can come onto the tops of the feet if you prefer. And just keep that movement going in time with your breath. Inhaling, exhaling. And in fact, the whole time, we've just got that very gentle lift happening in the belly. So we don't really want to squeeze the abdominals. Instead, we just want to feel like we're pulling the belly button back towards the spine. So it's a gentle lift so that as we move the back, we're less likely to irritate the lower spine. Let's do one more. Inhale and exhale. And then coming back to a neutral spine, back to a flat back. And then we'll take a little chest stretch here. So take the knees just a bit wider than your hips. Slide your right hand forward and then come down onto that right forearm. We're going to take hold of that right elbow. So left hand onto the right elbow. And then just see whether the arms have gone far enough forward. You can take your forehead down onto that left arm. And if that gives you enough of a stretch in the chest and into the right armpit, then that's great. If you want to slide the arms a little bit further forward, then you can. So you might just need to do a couple of little adjustments there to get a bit more stretch in the chest. So the hips are positioned up above the knees. The knee joints are nice and open, so there's no pressure there. And then every exhale, we are trying to sink the chest down in the direction of the mat. Again, just keeping a very subtle lift in the belly. And that just helps support the lower spine so that we can open the chest and release tension from the upper body. Let's exhale there. Lift up a little bit, tuck your tailbone, and then just lift the head up off of the arm. Change sides so that left arm will reach forward. Right hand takes hold of the left elbow, and then the forehead comes back down onto the arm. If again, if the arms need to go further forward or come further back, then just adjust. And if having the forehead on the arm doesn't feel right for the neck, you can always take the forehead down onto the mat instead. And then giving yourself a few deep breaths here. So this takes the spine into an extension or a back bend. So really good for releasing tension in the back. 2 more deep breaths on this side. And then when you're ready, rounding the spine, sliding the elbows back. Hands come back underneath the shoulders, and then we'll just counter that by rounding the spine. Tuck the chin, tuck the tailbone, feel the shoulder blades spreading apart. And then finding a flat back again. So hands are just going to go slightly forward of the shoulders, so it's a little less intense on the wrists. Elbows are a little bit soft. So not a huge bend, but not locking either. And then let's draw the belly in. Slide the right leg back. You can have the tippy toes just down on the floor. We're going to pick that foot up and cross it over to the left side of the mat. So just to the outside of your mat. Press away through that right heel and then look over your left shoulder. So foot is to the left side of the mat. We look over that left shoulder, and that should just stretch along your hip, maybe a little bit into your waist as well. Take a deep breath there. And then coming back to center. Keep that leg straight behind you, but just bring it back in line with your hip, so no longer crossing the mat. So we've got the right leg back. We're going to slide the left fingertips forward. Hold it here, opposite arm and leg. Breathe in as you breathe out. Take the hand and knee back onto the ground. And then let's change sides. So let's slide that left leg back. Again, tippy toes just touching the floor. Picking that foot up, crossing it to the right side of your mat this time. Tucking the toes underneath, and then gazing over your right shoulder as you push that heel away. So foot to the right, gazing over the right shoulder, stretching down that left side of your body. Taking a nice deep breath here. Exhale, release, bring that leg back to center, drawing the belly in gently, and then just sliding those right fingertips forward, opposite arm and leg for 1 breath in. Exhale, releasing, hands and knees back to the mat. Take the feet a little bit wider than the hips, and then relax back into your child's pose. So again, you have the option to have the head all the way down, or to stack one hand on top of the other to make a pillow. And then 3 deep breaths here, letting your shoulders relax. Inhale and exhale. Last breath here. And then easing yourself all the way up. Sitting the hips over to the side, and then bringing the legs around in front of you. So we'll sit with the legs crossed. It doesn't matter which leg you have in front. So we'll change over in a minute. But just sitting nice and tall, holding on to your knees, but letting your shoulders relax down. And let's take a deep breath in, sit even taller. Feel a lift in the chest and then lift the chin up slightly. And then as you exhale, chin to chest, let the shoulder blades spread. Upper back opens. Inhale, chest lifting, chin lifting. Exhale, chin to chest, rounding and releasing the upper back. We've got a gentle, it's almost like a cat-cow movement, that seated variation. Again, more about releasing the upper back than it is about moving the lower back. Next time you lift the chest and lift the chin, feel like you're reaching the chin forward and up. And then slide that lower jaw forward a little bit, just to stretch out the front of the neck. And then release, round the spine, drop the chin down to the chest, stretch the back of the neck for a moment. And then come back up to sitting nice and tall, chin parallel to the floor. And then let's drop the head down to the right. So I'll do your mirror image here. Head drops down to the right, so we get that lovely stretch down into the left side of the neck. And then slowly roll your head all the way down. Chin towards the chest, moving slowly and mindfully there. Keep rolling the head over to the left. So that stretch moves down the left side of, right side of the neck. And then start slowly lifting that chin up as the head goes back. Inhale, center, exhale, take the head down to the left first this time. Pausing there for a moment. Exhale, the chin down. We'll keep rolling the head slowly to the right. And then bringing the head back up. And then to center. Giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll there, rolling them up, back, and down. And then let's change the cross of the legs. So just bringing the other shin in front. We'll do a little bit of release for the spine here. So right fingertips coming out next to your right hip. Breathing in, take that left arm all the way up and then over. So into a side stretch. Left sit bone grounding down. And feeling that stretch all the way up the left side of the body. Full breath here. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, float that top arm up. As you exhale, arm comes down, the torso lifts back up, reaching your hand out to the left. Inhale, right arm up. Exhale, take it into your side stretch. Nice deep breaths down the side of your body. Inhale and exhale there. And then take that top arm up, draw yourself back to center. And we'll do a couple more to each side with a little bit of a variation. So come back into your side stretch, left arm up and over. And then this time, sweep the arm forward, just below shoulder height. Place that hand down and reach that right arm up and over. Inhale as you stretch to the side. Exhale, sweeping that arm. It doesn't have to be too far forward. And then back. So as the arm reaches forward, keep a very gentle lift in the tummy. Top arm reaching up and over. And that's it, just a couple more. One to the right. And then finishing over to our left. Coming back to center and releasing there. So let's take the soles of the feet together and let the knees open out to the sides. So it's quite a loose diamond shape. So the knees aren't super tight. The heels are quite far away from the sit bones so that the legs can just drop with gravity. And then we're just going to hold on to the shins. Wherever you can reach comfortably, pull yourself up to sitting as tall as you can. Relax your shoulders and then just let the chin drop down. Roll the head over to the right. Holding there, relax your jaw. Keep those shoulders super soft. And then lower the chin back down. Rolling the head over to the other side. Inhaling. And exhaling the chin back down. Start to round your spine. So let the shoulders come forward. You can take the hands further down onto the ankles, onto the feet, or even just onto the mat. And let your spine round here. It's up to you where you want to go to. We just want to feel a very gentle release around the lower back and the pelvis. So this helps to release tension caused by long periods of time sitting. We open the hips and then help to release the lower back as well. So deep breaths in, big long breath out. 2 more rounds of breath in your diamond pose. Exhale. Last inhale there. Exhale, roll yourself slowly back up to sitting. Walk the hands all the way behind your body so you can lean back, and then heel toe the feet out to hip width. That helps to lift the knees up, and then we'll just do a slow swaying motion from side to side. So it doesn't have to be a very big movement, but it will just help to release the hips after that forward fold. And we'll just do a couple more seated poses here. So once hips are feeling good after that, we're going to extend the right leg out. So again, I'll do your mirror image here and just bend that left knee in. So if it doesn't feel right for the knee, or the knee is really high away from the floor, you can use, again, it could just be a throw blanket or a pillow from the couch, and just pop it underneath that thigh and that knee just to support it. But if the knee is all the way down, then you may not want anything at all. So we have got equal weight down through the sit bone, so the pelvis is nice and level. We're pulling the right toes towards the face, and then we're just going to walk the fingertips straight down the middle. So we get that hip opening on the left side. It may not feel like a big stretch, but it's helping those muscles to rotate the hip socket. And then you might feel it a bit more into the right leg. So draw the chin in gently so the back of the neck is lengthening. And then breathe into it here. On the inhale, you might lengthen your spine a little more. And as you exhale, you might sink into the stretch a little more. So there might be a little bit of movement as you breathe, inhaling, in that full breath in, exhaling to release. Last deep breath, inhale, And exhale. Walk the fingertips all the way back in. Take the left hand behind your body, so really close in towards you. Take your right hand onto your knee. Sit nice and tall, and then just start to twist. So you can judge how much sensation you want when you push the hand into the knee and the hand into the floor behind you. Take the head and neck to a place where they are comfortable. We stay sitting tall, so the twist is in the upper back, not in the lower back. Close the eyes. Take another 3 deep breaths. And then as you exhale, de-rotate, come back to center. Let's open that left leg out. Bend that right knee in. So again, you're welcome to use support underneath that knee if you need to. Otherwise, sitting nice and tall, pulling those left toes towards the face, fingertips coming down onto the floor. Sitting tall here, and then walking the hands out. And it's just as far as you want to go. When you start to feel a stretch in that left leg, you don't need to go too much further than that. Breathing into it there, nice deep breath in, lengthening the spine. Exhale, allow yourself to soften and round a little bit. Inhale, straightening the spine so that we get a longer inhalation, more space for the lungs to expand, and then exhaling. As we release that breath, we come deeper into our stretch. Just one more breath like that. Exhale. And then easing yourself out, walking the hands back from there. Again, sitting nice and tall. This time taking your right fingertips just behind the body. So it's to help you sit tall. And then that left hand onto your right knee. We sit tall as we breathe in, and then pressing the hand lightly to the knee and into the floor behind you to start that twist in the upper spine. Close the eyes, tune into your breathing, and inhale to sit tall, and exhale into the twist. 2 more rounds of breath. Last inhale. De-rotate as you exhale from there. Just use the hand to help extend that right leg forward, bringing the legs together and then giving them a bit of a shake out there. And then from here, we'll make our way back down onto the mat. So feel free to grab something to rest the head on if you like, a cushion or a blanket rolled up. And then ground the soles of the feet. Ease yourself down onto the mat. And we'll just come back to that constructive rest position for a moment. So we've done side to side movements. We've done back bending, forward folding, and twisting. So all the movements that the spine is capable of making. So we just come back down onto the mat into this position because it neutralizes the spine and the pelvis. So brings everything back to center. We can just take a couple of breaths here. Nice deep breath in and out. And then again, draw the knees up into the chest. Take a very slow rock from side to side. So just winding down towards our relaxation now. So movements are much slower, smaller and slower than before. And then keeping the body still, moving the legs around in big circles, and hopefully you feel a bit of a difference in the way the hips are moving. Usually they feel a lot warmer, a lot freer by the end of our practice. All the poses and all the movements we've done to help release tension there. And then when you bring the knees back together, placing the soles of the feet down onto the floor, lifting the hips up just a little bit so that you can tuck your tailbone underneath and really lengthen your lower back. And then slide your right leg out along the mat, let the foot fall out to the side. Slide the left leg out and move the hands onto the belly. So this is Shavasana. This is the full relaxation pose. If it doesn't feel right for your lower back to slide the legs all the way out, you can slide a pillow just underneath the knees so the knees are lifted a little bit, and that helps to release the back. Or you can just come back to this rest position with the feet a little bit wider than hip width and the knees dropping in against each other to rest. And that should do the same thing. So if the lower back really arches away from the mat uncomfortably in your relaxation, having a bend in the knees will help. And you're welcome to have the arms down at the sides of your body, or you could bring the hands onto your belly. Whatever you are comfortable with. And just letting the eyes close down. Breathing here, whole body relaxing down into the mat. Just tuning into that rise and fall of your belly. Tuning into the expansion and release of your rib cage. Tuning into the rise and the fall of your chest. So even though the body is resting here, muscles are relaxing, the joints are soft. We are still awake. We are focusing on the breathing, so we're feeling that flow beneath the hands. And watching the movements of the mind. So we're staying present while we rest the body and allow it to absorb all the benefits of our yoga practice. Relaxing the toes, feet, and ankles. Relaxing the calves, knees, and thighs. Relaxing the pelvis, the lower back, mid back, and upper back. Releasing the belly, the ribs, and chest. Relaxing the shoulders, upper arms and elbows. Relaxing the forearms, wrists, and hands. Relax the neck, the jaw, the face. Relax the whole body. Relax the whole body. Whole body is relaxed. And then slowly deepening your breath. Taking in a little more air as you inhale. And then exhaling completely. Bring a little bit of movement back into the fingers and into the toes. Maybe rolling out your wrists a few times. Just a few little circles each way. Reaching the arms up overhead. Giving the legs a bit of a stretch too, so a full body stretch here. And then just roll yourself onto the side of your body, so right side or left side as you prefer. Use your hand for support as you bring yourself up off of your mat. Finding a comfortable seat just to finish your practice. Sitting tall, letting the shoulders relax. Closing down the eyes. As you breathe in, raise the arms out and up. Bring the palms together. Exhale the hands in front of the chest. Keeping the hands there. Take another breath in to sit tall. Exhale, head down towards the heart center. Finishing your practice. Thank you so much. Namaste.
Namaste.